I know you're mad at us for being so late today, but I'm hoping I can make it up to you guys with some great information and even some great giveaways. We have been spending the last couple of hours trying to prepare a big show for you. We got into the studio and bang, the cameras don't work again. But don't worry, the cameras are working now. Here I am, and I promise you I'm going to make it up to you with a big show with a lot of information. So my fellow economists, Bitcoin is now trading at $47,323. And as it goes down and down and down, it does feel like we keep shaking out the weaker hands. And I'm going to show you today that we have actually shaken out a lot of the weak hands. And then we're going to discuss whether or not we should become economists, because it sounds like everybody here is an economist all of a sudden. I mean, Carl's an economist, Fred's an economist, everybody's an economist. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about whether we should be economists or investors, and then we're going to look at the hottest narrative for right now and for the first part of 2022, which is just around the corner, because this is our last real show before we do the Friday banter, and then that's it. Then we're going to 2022. The next time we see is in 2022. So let's make this like one of our biggest and best shows, and let's do a lot of giveaways in the shows, and yeah, let's do it.
He's all about the DJ, baby. He's all about the DJ, baby. Uncle Ren's in charge. He's a crypto star. So savvy what he say. Fast money like a sports car. He's all about the DJ life. Make some money, change your wife. Big calls on the altcoins for the bull market hype. He's all about the DJ, baby. Crypto man. 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 Crypto man ran. Crypto banter. You got crypto questions, they got crypto answers. Jean-Claude Van Damme of the Banter fam. Can he kick it? Yes, he can. Can he kick it? Yes, he can. Crypto man ran. He's all about the DJ, baby. Crypto man ran. He's all about the DJ, baby. Crypto man.
Alrighty, we're back. Welcome back, Banter fam. I'm Crypto Man Run. If you're new to our family, welcome. Subscribe to our channel. Join the fastest growing and most loyal community in the entire world. And remember, to all these subscribers, today we're going to be doing a whole lot of giveaways. Before we start the giveaways, I'm actually going to give you guys something for everyone. If you're a subscriber to this channel, I'm going to give you guys a giveaway right now. Here it is. Here's the giveaway. You ready? Here we go. We are going to be at Bitcoin Miami, BTC Miami. We're going to be there at the North American Bitcoin Conference on the 17th to 19th of January 2022. If you are part of the Banter fam and you are going to be in Miami, there are free tickets for you in the description link, but only 250 of you. So if you're not going to Miami, please don't use the tickets, because the organizers have only given us 250 tickets. So go to the description link below. There is a link. Just click on that link, put in what you need to do, and you will get, what are we going to get? You're going to get free tickets, yeah? Free tickets for everybody. Okay, free tickets for the first 250 people. But please, guys, don't use the tickets if you're not going to be in Miami, because we're not going to get more tickets. So that's the first thing that I'm going to give away to you guys today. The second thing I'm going to give away to you guys is, okay, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. Get this. When we get to 5,000 likes today, and I know we're going to get to 5,000 likes because it's going to be a big show, I'm going to give you guys, James, how many giveaways can I do? 5 times $100? Okay, I'm going to give you guys 5 times $100 in this, okay? MetaGods. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, he's giving us 5 times $100 IDO tokens in MetaGods. Let me give you a little bit more information, because I think when I give you guys the information, you'll realize why this is such a big giveaway. And I'm only going to do it when we get to 5,000 likes. So the first thing I can say to you here is that this token, this IDO, happened yesterday in a bad market on GameFi, and was sold out before Fred could even sneeze. Okay, so before Fred could sneeze, this was sold out on GameFi. Now, the investors here, the investors in this game, Hashed is the biggest and the best fund in Korea. They invested in this game. Okay, get this. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You know Pump, the Bitcoin maximalist? It's got this thing called Pump Labs. Pump Labs invested in this too. So even Bitcoin maximalists are investing in this game. Okay, so I'm just sorting out my sound here from moving into this year. It's an amazing game. These IDO allocations are going to be worth a fortune. They're going to be worth an absolute fortune. Today, I'm going to be giving away 5 times $100 allocations into this game. So only when we get to 5,000 likes, then I'm going to be sharing the love with the community and giving this away. Cool, happiness. Let's see if there's anything else that I can give away to you guys today. Anything else we can give away?
No more tokens.
No more tokens. Banter bags, there are Banter bags. So we do have the Banter bags. We've got $10,000 worth of Photochromic now in the Banter bags. So we've got $10,000 of Photochromic in the Banter bags. That is a identity protocol, which is being launched on Cardstarter. Let's just see what's in the Banter bags. Do we have like a global overview of what's in the Banter bags? That's what it looks like. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff in the Banter bags, and we just keep filling it up and filling it up and filling it up and filling it up. And these tokens, of course, will all recover when the market gets hot again, and bang, then we're going to have a big giveaway for the Banter fam. So that is enough of the giveaways. Today's going to be a bit of a shorter show because we started so late, and I think we should get straight into the show. And when we look at the Bitcoin price over here, you can see the Bitcoin price. It does feel like with every passing day, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the bottom. So like it just keeps going down, and it looks like we keep shaking out the weaker hands. And one of the journalists here at Crypto Banter actually wrote an article today. The article is available on the Crypto Banter website. Remember, if you're going to go to the Crypto Banter website, remember it's in beta. We're testing it. It's not the real site. We're just messing around with the site. But the article talks about why the worst actually could be over for the crypto market. And it cites a whole lot of things here around the stock market and the fact that stocks have now stabilized. It talks about the Omicron fears, which are now completely fading. I mean, it has turned out to be a complete non-starter, a complete non-event. It does talk about the inflation fears that are coming up. It talks about Evergrande and how Evergrande, which again panicked this whole market, is now again a non-event because apparently the Chinese Communist Party has completely taken over Evergrande, or is completely taking over Evergrande. So that's another thing that's happening that's happening here. And so it does look like with every day that we pass by, the worst could be over. What we are seeing right now is we're seeing, in my opinion, one of the ultimate bullish signals in the market. We're seeing the biggest divergence that we've ever seen in between the dumb money and the smart money. So if you look at the price of Bitcoin is this gray line over here. The green line is the smart money, and the red line here is the dumb money. And what we can see is that in this correction, the smart money has accumulated and the dumb money has sold. But the disconnect between the smart money and the dumb money is the biggest that the disconnect between the smart money and the dumb money has ever been. Now, every other time that there's been a disconnect between the dumb money and the smart money, the market has gone on a rampant run where the dumb money tries to keep buying tokens from the smart money. And then the smart money sells back into the dumb money. Now, you can see that today, as we stand right now, the dumb money and the smart money have got the biggest differential between them that we've ever seen in the history of Bitcoin. What that basically means is that if the smart money is right, and smart money is usually right, then what's going to happen next is that the dumb money is going to try and catch up to the smart money. And then we're going to see probably a huge rally. For me, this is one of the indicators that we could be near the bottom. I don't want to keep repeating myself and going through the leverage and all the technical indicators, because I think we've done a lot of that right now. And I think that right now, when you look at the market, I get this feeling that the market, and when I say the market, I mean the stock market, and therefore the Bitcoin market is kind of range bound, and everybody is you could say, waiting for the Fed and for the Fed meeting and for the Fed decision about interest rates. So everybody now has become an economist. Everybody that you speak to today is talking to you about inflation and about what the Fed is going to do about inflation and about the Fed meeting that's happening on Wednesday, which is today, and about how they're going to respond. And everybody's been talking about this. So we've been through this amazing cycle because about a year and a half ago, everybody was a virologist. They were all virus specialists. So everybody knew everything about viruses and how COVID is. And then we went through a phase where everyone became a doctor because everyone knew how to treat COVID. So everyone said, okay, you can use this antibiotics with vitamin D. And so everyone became, the same people that were virologists then became doctors and medical experts. And then the same people that became doctors and medical experts then became traditional healers and said, you got to take these herbs and whatever else. And now the same people have actually become economists. So it's like, it's the same person, but specializing in multiple things. And this week, everybody has become an economist. Everybody is so concerned with what the Fed will do. And I think that that's a very big mistake because I think we're starting to focus too much on what the Fed will do. And what the Fed will do actually has no real bearing on how blockchain technology is going to disrupt the world. At the best case is that the Fed raises interest rates or lowers interest rates or starts tapering or doesn't start tapering. But ultimately, that should have a limited effect on the economy. Let's say it has a limited effect on the economy and maybe an effect on Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin, as far as I understand blockchain technology, Bitcoin is probably the only bona fide hedge against the Fed's policies, right? So we talk about this amazing technology, which is going to disrupt multiple industries in the entire world. And we are spending way too much time deciding what the Fed's going to do. If the Fed does anything, the only token that I know that it should actually impact is Bitcoin, because that is the only one that is correlated to the Fed's decisions. For the rest of it, the Fed should adopt a responsible approach, because I don't think that the Fed is out there to crash markets. The Fed wants to make sure that markets are healthy. And so we will go through multiple cycles where the Fed decides to raise interest rates, to drop interest rates, and we cannot be fixated on what the Fed does. And in fact, I saw a tweet this morning. The tweet was from David Sachs. And David Sachs says it quite correctly. He says, investors should be spending their time finding good investments, not endlessly debating interest rates, inflation, and tax policy. But that's the uncertainty Washington has created. To be clear, I know a lot of investors in a lot of different asset classes, and all of them are talking, and all anyone is talking about is interest rates and the macro picture. So it does feel like, as investors who are investing in possibly the most exciting asset class in the world, an asset class which will probably disrupt almost every single industry in 2023 and 2024. And we are fixated about what the Fed is going to do, as if the Fed may do something today that's going to ruin the long-term nature of NFTs or DeFi or the economy. The Fed's not going to do that. The Fed's going to protect the economy, and the Fed's going to continue to go through cycles like they've gone through cycles for years and years and years. And even within those cycles, the technologies that disrupt the world continue to perform well. I don't believe that anyone can say that Apple or Amazon or Microsoft or any of the tech companies in the world are going to be that affected in the next 10 years by the Fed's policies around interest rates today and around tapering in a short period of time, which is something around 6 months. So I think as investors, if you're a trader, well, then you've got to be trading the cycle. But if you're an investor, then you should have the vision to look past the cycles, the small cycles that the Fed is managing. Because remember, the Fed is managing the next 6 months or the next 12 months or the next 3 months. And the markets are responding to the Fed decision that is going to happen 6 months from now. And what's the worst that could happen is that the Fed shock us with a slightly bigger interest rate shock, and then the market reacts badly, but then recovers, because ultimately, if you look at this, we're in a bull cycle, and we've been in a bull cycle for many, many, many years in the stock market. And all that the Fed is managing is the small time frames in between. And as investors, what we should be looking at is we should be looking way past the Fed cycles and the Washington uncertainty and the tax policies, and we should be focusing on the technologies that are going to change the world. And I think if we can do that, if we can stop focusing around these small cycles and start thinking about the opportunity that we have here. And the opportunity that we have here is a unique opportunity. It is a once in a lifetime opportunity, maybe twice if you count the launch of the internet in our lifetimes. We have a once in a lifetime opportunity to invest in technologies that are going to seriously change the world. And we have a once in a lifetime opportunity because we're early, because we're really, really, really early. And if you're watching shows like this and you're gaining information on how layer one blockchains work, you've got an advantage on everybody else in the world, because I don't know how many people understood how the internet worked. You don't need to know how the internet worked. The fact that you know how blockchain works, and blockchain is going to become like an internet, and it's going to power multiple protocols that are going to change the world, gives you an unbelievable advantage. And if you're going to take the time and spend the time worrying about whether interest rates are going to go up by 0.25 basis points, or whether the government is going to print slightly more cash or slightly less cash, or taper in March or taper in April, I think you've lost perspective of the big pie. The big opportunity here is that we're early investors in an asset class that is going to disrupt almost every industry in the world, in an environment where money is being printed all the time. And if you're worried about the short-term cycles, then you're going to miss the alpha that is available to us because we are here early. And there are a few bets here that are completely simple and completely asymmetrical. Yeah, there are a couple of bets today that if you zoom out and you're not looking at the specific cycle as to whether Bitcoin is going to 47.5 or 51 or 52, we know that in 5 years, Bitcoin is going to be at $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000. Whether or not it gets to 50,000 next week doesn't really matter. We know that there are certain bets that you can take right now with a long-term view, that if these bets are absolutely successful, then you have asymmetrical returns. In fact, you have asymmetrical returns today because the risk is now pretty low because we know so much, and the upside is kind of unlimited. Let me give you an example of a bet that in my mind is completely asymmetrical in nature. And I see Miss Ann, she says, I'm early. I think that's something that we should all comment about. I think if you're here in the comments, just write a comment and just say, I'm early, because you're early. You are here and you are early. And I'll show you in a second why I think you're so early. I'll show you in a second. So let me tell you how I know we're early and how I know that there are bets with an asymmetrical risk return. There are bets out here with an absolutely asymmetrical risk reward profile. The amount of risk that you're taking is so low compared to the upside because we have inside information, because we've been here for so long. We have information that the common investor doesn't have. And if we apply this information and we sprinkle a little bit of knowledge onto it, you will realize that there are some asymmetrical bets. And I'll give you an example of just some of these asymmetrical bets. An asymmetrical bet right now is Solana. An asymmetrical bet right now is Cardano. An asymmetrical bet right now is Avalanche. An asymmetrical bet right now is any layer one protocol. Any layer 1 blockchain protocol that will work and that can scale is an absolutely asymmetrical bet if you're looking beyond the Fed cycle of interest rates today versus interest rates tomorrow. Let me explain to you what I mean. Layer 1 blockchains have only had 3 successful experiments. If you think of the entire layer 1 blockchain narrative, layer 1 blockchains have had 3 successful experiments. Of all the experiments that have taken place on layer 1 blockchains, 3 of them have been successful. The first one was a store of value, which was built on the layer 1 called Bitcoin. And we now know that that experiment was successful. We know that this layer 1 blockchain narrative of store of value on a layer 1 blockchain was successful. And that has taken up the entire Bitcoin blockchain. The entire Bitcoin blockchain is full because of this experiment for a store of value being built on blockchain. The second layer 1 experiment which was successful is DeFi. So we know that with DeFi was an amazing experiment, and that experiment has led to a total value locked. Let's quickly go to DeFi Llama. So let's quickly just go and check out on DeFi Llama. I don't want to give you guys bad information. The total value locked today on DeFi is $240 billion. So what we know is that there was an experiment which was conducted, which was an experiment called decentralized finance on a layer 1 blockchain, and that experiment was successful. And the success of DeFi, plus the success of a third experiment, which was super successful, which is NFTs, has completely crippled layer 1 blockchains. Completely crippled layer 1 blockchains. We've had 3 successful blockchain experiments, and those 3 successful blockchain experiments completely crippled all the layer 1 blockchains. Bitcoin can't take many more transactions. Ethereum is completely unusable. And that is on the back of 3 successful blockchain experiments. In the future, there are going to be thousands and thousands of blockchain experiments. Most of them are going to fail, but at least another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 are going to be successful. We know that. And when that happens, the world is going to require a lot of layer 1 infrastructure. It's going to require multiple blockchains that can process multiple transactions securely and very quickly. Because if the whole world is going to be powered on these blockchain experiments, or if we create these metaverses and these whole new worlds that are going to be powered on these layer 1 blockchains, we are going to need a whole lot of layer 1 processing power. Look at it however you want. We are going to need layer 1 processing power. So right now, one of those asymmetrical bets is to just invest in layer 1. Yeah, just invest in layer 1. Invest in Solana, invest in Cardano, invest in Avalanche. Invest in layer 1. Doesn't matter what the layer 1 is, because if you believe in blockchain, what you do know for sure is that you're going to need a good layer 1, a good set of layer 1 blockchains that can process transactions. And I'll show you, I actually want to show you what I mean here. Let me get this up for you. Okay, so you have a layer 1 blockchain. You have one layer 1 blockchain. You have the leader in layer 1 blockchains, which is called Ethereum. We all know Ethereum very well. Ethereum has managed to accrue a market cap or a value of $450 billion, right? That is what Ethereum is. It's managed to accrue through 2 successful experiments on a platform that doesn't actually work that well, that is actually broken. Ethereum has managed to create $450 billion of value. But Ethereum doesn't work. And let's just talk about how or why Ethereum doesn't work. The Ethereum blockchain can process 13 transactions per second. Those are the facts. Today, the Ethereum blockchain can process 13 transactions per second. Okay, so you have this network that has a market cap of $450 billion that can process 13 transactions per second. That same network has a total value locked of $159 billion in DeFi. That same network has over 650,000 active addresses. Okay? That network processes 13 transactions per second. So let me make this clear to you guys. Let's give an analogy. It's like going to see a concert at a stadium, and there is only one gate, and that gate is letting through 13 people per second. And to make things worse, so now you've got this line of transactions because everybody wants to go and use this network or go to this concert. You've got this line which is going around miles and miles and miles around the city of people trying to process these transactions because you can only get in through one gate, which is allowing 13 transactions per second. So that is what Ethereum looks like right now. 650,000 active addresses, $200 total, and 13 transactions per second. Okay, now to exacerbate the problem even further, there is a mechanic in Ethereum that says that if you want to bypass the line, if you want to go into the concert and you want to bypass the line, then all you need to do is pay more. So pay more to go to the front of the line. Everyone keeps paying more to go to the front of the line. And the result is that because the gate can only process 13 transactions per second, the price of gas becomes unusable. And what the market has done is the market has given this protocol a market valuation of $450 billion. Because you cannot doubt, you cannot contend the security and the consensus protocol that is Ethereum. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, of course, there is a solve for this. Ethereum is migrating to ETH 2.0. Everybody knows that Ethereum is migrating to ETH 2.0. The question is, the problem is that no one knows when Ethereum is migrating to ETH 2.0. So the last roadmap that we got, in fact, I want to show you something. I tweeted something earlier today, and I just wanted to test the market. I love doing this on Twitter. So I tested the market and I said, does anybody have a roadmap for me of when Ethereum is going to be moving to ETH 2.0? Is there an updated roadmap? Here we go. I said, hey, Twitter, what's the best place to find the most recent ETH 2.0 roadmap with updates? There we go. I got all these answers, but not a single person could show me anywhere when ETH 2.0 was going to go live. What we do know is that there's going to be a merge, and then there's going to be a move to proof of stake. That's when the proof of work network is going to be abandoned, and there's going to be a merge into proof of stake. And that's going to happen sometime early in 2022. Yeah, right. Then there's going to be sharding, and that's going to happen sometime in late 2022. And then there's ETH 2.0, which happens sometime in 2023. Okay, so you have this network that has a value of $450 billion. And right now, this network is doing 13 transactions per second. What the market is telling you is that they are so horny for layer one protocols that are going to get network effect, that even though the only one that they have is doing 13 transactions per second and has a roadmap that they've never ever stuck to, ever in the history of roadmaps, has Ethereum stuck to roadmap, at the best case, they will be live in 2023 with this roadmap. The only issue is that blockchain technology, disruption and adoption and NFTs and DeFi and all these experiments aren't going to wait until 2023 until Ethereum solves all their problems. It's just not going to happen. So now there's a conundrum, because either investors can take their money and invest in other layer one protocols, and then you can make a call as to whether you want to invest in Ethereum compatible layer one protocols, like, for example, Avalanche, which uses EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, or whether you want to invest in things like Cardano or Solana, which are not Ethereum compatible. which are not EVM compatible. Yes, I know they will be and they promise to be, but ultimately they're written in a different language. The one thing, though, is that you cannot deny the power of the ETH consensus layer 1. You cannot deny the network effects that the EVM has. You cannot deny the strengths that the EVM has. And that's why one of the narratives of investing in a layer 1 may be to invest in EVM compatible chains like Avalanche, like all the other ones that are EVM compatible. Another narrative may be to invest in non-EVM compatible chains, but then you're breaking away from the EVM network and the ecosystem, and you can't deny that a lot of money has been put into these EVM solutions by VCs. If you think of all the tooling and everything else that has been built for ETH, I don't think you can deny that it has a huge network effect. So now you're really left with two options: invest in EVM compatible chains or invest in Ethereum layer 2. And when you invest in Ethereum layer 2, you then have this EVM advantage. You're still using the security and consensus algorithm of the Ethereum actual blockchain, but you're getting a EVM scalable solution, and you're getting it like pretty soon, or actually right now. And that's why we've been talking about this narrative, which is this Ethereum layer 2 scaling solution narrative. We've been talking about it for a while, and I think we said to you guys back in the day, I think we said to you guys, I might even have it here. Do we have it here? So we said to you guys that there were a whole lot of ways that you could invest. Here it is. There were a whole lot of ways that you could invest in this ETH layer 2 narrative, which is growing pretty quickly. And if you want to see this chart that I'm showing you guys here, go onto L2beat.com, and you'll see the TVL locked up in the different Ethereum layer 2 scaling solutions. And you'll also see exactly what kind of technology these Ethereum layer 2 scaling solutions are using. Now, for those of you who don't know what a layer 2 Ethereum is, a layer 2 effectively says, let us get, since the Ethereum network can only process 13 transactions per second, let's take as many of those transactions away from the Ethereum blockchain. Let's take as much of the load away from the Ethereum blockchain, and let's process it off the chain, and then let's use the chain when we need to use the chain. Whatever we can get away from the Ethereum blockchain will help in reducing the load of the Ethereum blockchain. So one of the ways to do it is the way that MATIC and Polygon have been doing it. And what they've been doing is they've been running side chains. They've been running these complete separate blockchains, and then rolling up the data to the Ethereum blockchain every now and then. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is what they call rollups. And we've spoken about rollups a little bit, but I wanted to spend a little bit more time on rollups with you guys today. So let's talk about rollups and the difference between the two types of rollups. So what are rollups? Rollups are solutions that perform transaction execution outside the main Ethereum chain, which is exactly what I said. So let me make this bigger for you guys so that you guys can read. So rollups are solutions that perform execution outside the main Ethereum layer 1 chain, but post transaction data to the layer 1. A transaction on layer 1, as the transaction data on layer 1, rollups are secured by layer 1, so you get the security of the layer 1, inheriting the security properties of layer 1 while performing execution outside of the layer 1 is a defining characteristic of rollups. So you're doing the execution of the transaction off the layer 1, but you're posting it to the layer 1. As the transaction data is on layer 1, rollups are secured on layer 1. 3 simplified properties of rollups. Transaction execution happens outside of layer 1. Data or proof of transaction is then posted onto layer 1. A rollup smart contract in layer 1 that can enforce a correction on layer 2. So let's just look at what these mean in practicality. If Fred and I are doing a transaction, we do the transaction outside of layer 1, we post the data back to the Ethereum blockchain to say that Fred has sent me a certain transaction. And if there's any dispute, we can enforce or we can correct the transaction on layer 2. And really, there are two types of rollups on layer 1. There are two types of rollups that you can do. One of them is called an optimistic rollup, and the other one is called a zero-knowledge rollup. And the difference between an optimistic rollup and a zero-knowledge rollup, I'll read it to you here. It says, there are two types of rollups with slightly different security models. There's an optimistic rollup, which assumes all transactions are valid, and then allows people to challenge them in the effect of a fraud. So let's go back to the Fred Run example. We would post a transaction as if Run has sent Fred a transaction. And then what we would do is we would give people the option to challenge the validity of the transaction for a certain amount of time, say a number of days. And if they challenged it successfully within a certain number of time and they proved that the transaction was incorrect, then with an optimistic rollup, we would reverse that. With a zero-knowledge rollup, the confirmation that Run and Fred's transaction is correct happens off the chain, and we submit a proof of validity to the chain. So optimistic rollups assumes that it's good and allows people to challenge, while zero-knowledge rollups confirms that it's correct, but it confirms it off the chain and then posts that data to the chain. Now, what we know is, so optimistic rollups versus ZK rollups. Optimistic rollups, data about what is happening is posted on-chain. A validator makes a claim on the correct outcome about what happened. Assuming it correct, the system goes on. Otherwise, there's a dispute, a cheap and efficient dispute mechanism protocol. The second option is ZK rollups. When a party to the protocol posts a claim about what the correct outcome of the computation is, they have a cryptographic proof associated with it. So they can actually post a cryptographic proof of what actually happened in the transaction. So that's the difference between optimistic rollups and ZK rollups. ZK rollups are by far technologically more superior, because when they post something to the blockchain, because they've got a zero-knowledge verification that it actually happened, it can't be challenged. And because it can't be challenged, the transaction is kind of full and final when it happens. Whereas with optimistic rollups, the transaction is not full and final because it actually gives people a chance to challenge the validity of the transaction. And if they're correct, the transaction can be reversed. And that's why the hottest narrative right now is actually these ZK rollups. And if you have been following Twitter and you have been following a whole lot of narratives, everybody is talking about ZK rollups. Everybody's talking about the fact that ZK rollups are the next narrative in the blockchain ecosystem. And everybody's talking about the fact that in layer 1 and layer 2 and in quarter 1 and quarter 2 of next year, ZK rollups are the biggest narrative. Because what they've realized is that the ETH, the tooling, the EVM, the network effects are not going to go away. They're too big and too powerful. And even though Ethereum doesn't work, there has to be another place that you can use all this hard work and still get the benefit of all this money that was done. And that is the Rollup or the ETH Layer 2 scaling solutions. And particularly, we think that the winner of the Rollup category is going to be the ZK Rollup category. So what we've done for you guys today is we've said, if you believe in this narrative, if you believe that we're still early and that it doesn't really matter what kind of layer 1 narrative you invest in 3 years' time, it's all going to be used up. All the roads are going to be used up. We do think that there is one narrative that is going to be the most powerful narrative in the next couple of months. Not only that, today, what we thought we would do is actually give you guys 5 or 6 easy ways, simple ways to capitalize on the narrative. So if you believe in this ZK Rollups rabbit hole, and if you believe that it's going to work, and we really believe that it is the hottest narrative because it is ETH Layer 2 scaling at its finest, well then what we're going to do today is we're going to give you guys 6 simple actions that you can do right now, today, to actually capitalize on ETH Layer 2 ZK Rollups. Imagine, like, it's such a complicated thing. And what I must take my hat off to producer Luke, because he's been working for like a week to break it down for you guys into 6 things that you can do right now, today, if you want to capitalize on this ZK rollup narrative. That's it. And let me tell you, there's not many things that you can do to capitalize on the ZK rollup narrative. And I'll show you why. Because if you look at the site called zkrollups.xyz, okay, there is so much that you can do here, but most of these don't have a token. So probably the leader in technology for ZK rollups is Starkware. There's no token. You can't do anything about it. DYDX is built on Starkware, Immutable X is built on Starkware, but you can't do anything about it. So what we decided to do, because we like to give you guys practical things that you can do every single day. We don't like to give you guys theoretical knowledge that you can't trade on. We know that every single time that we do a show, you guys have got to walk away from the show and saying, you know what? You've got to be able to do something here. So I see you guys are saying Luke is a legend. Let me tell you, the man's here, he's sick, but he put together the show and he simplified everything for you guys so that you could do 5 or 6 things to actually capitalize on ZK rollups. Simple.
I still don't know what a ZK rollup is.
Uh-oh.
I tried. No, I do.
I hope you know. Oh my God, I hope you know. Good spirit, man. So let's look at the players and the 6 things that you can do to capitalize on the ZK rollup narrative. So first thing is, if you do want a full map of what's going on in ZK rollups, zkrollups.xyz. Surprise, zkrollups.xyz has all the places that you can go and all the projects that are building and all the projects that are integrating using ZK rollups. Here it is. It'll serve as a good guide, but you can't use this guide on your own because there's just too much information here. So what we've done is we've actually looked at some of the biggest players that are using ZK rollups that you can actually invest in, that you can actually do something about. Because when we talk to you about something and you can't do anything about it, that's quite frustrating. So we're going to show you guys how to actually make money in ZK rollups. And the first place that you can look to make money in ZK rollups is actually by investing in Polygon. Because if you remember, Polygon had this ZK rollups day on the 9th or the 8th of August. And before this ZK rollups day, what they said was that they were going to spend $1 billion of their treasury in ZK rollups. That was the first announcement that MATIC Polygon made. Then they came out and they acquired Mir Protocol. Now, some people thought that they acquired Mir Protocol, and that gave a spike to Mir Protocol, which is actually a Luna project. Polygon acquired Mir Protocol for $400 million and renames it as Polygon Zero. That's another announcement that they made. And I want to just read you something. Mir Protocol is a platform for dApps powered by ZK proofs. The protocol aims to empower the developers to build private, scalable, decentralized applications. So they bought a platform to allow dApps to be powered by ZK proofs. That's the first acquisition that they made for $400 million. They also acquired Hermez. Hermez is another decentralized ZK payment protocol. And if you look at the MATIC Polygon play, what they've said is all these are going to be ZK type technologies that they're going to be integrating into MATIC and Polygon to power MATIC and Polygon using ZK rollups. So the first thing that you can do is you can invest in MATIC. MATIC is a good play if you want some kind of exposure into ZK rollups. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is you can look at Loopring, because Loopring is also a ZK rollup layer 2, which allows for high throughput and low cost trading on Ethereum. And if you follow Delphi Digital, we follow Delphi Digital, they're amazing. He says, with the ZK rollup narrative popping off the past weeks, we can see that users are moving funds to projects like Loopring and ZKSync.test. What you can see is that there is a whole lot of money which is starting to flow into this ZK rollup narrative, and it's starting to flow up into Loopring and into ZKSync. We'll talk about that in a second. If you go to DeFi Llama and you go to Loopring, what you'll notice is that Loopring has about $600 million in total value locked. And that is an ETH Layer 2 narrative that has about $600 million in total value locked. I think, let me have a look here. I think I may even have a chart that shows you all the ETH Layer 2s and how we get and what the total value locked is. Fred, do we have that chart? It's in my WhatsApp. Okay, let's try and get it out of WhatsApp for you lovely people. Which group is it on, Freddie?
Direct. It's the last latest one.
Let me get it for you guys. So here we go. We have a ZK Rollups ETH Layer 2. Let's see if we can open this for you guys. Okay, here we go. So what you can see is you can see the money flowing into ETH Layer 2 ZK Rollups. This is available on the block crypto. And what you can see is that there's money locked in DYDX, which is it's built on as ETH Layer 2, but then Loopring has the second amount of TVL. And you can go and you can buy the Loopring token, and you can do this today. So that's another way for you guys to invest directly or indirectly into ZK Rollups. Is there another way that we can do it? I think there is. Let's have a look here. What have we got here for you guys? Okay, we're not going to invest in MATIC and Polygon. We've done that. Okay, so then the third way is you can invest in DeversiFi. And this is DeversiFi. It is a DEX which is built on Starknet, Starkware and Starknet technology. And this is a DEX which is powered by this. Now, here is the token. The token is called DeversiFi. You should do some more research before you put some money into it, but it is built on this ZK2 knowledge, on the zero knowledge proof, on the ZK Rollup technology, specifically on the Starkware application of the ZK Rollup technology. That's another way that you guys can invest in ZK Rollups. There's also another way that you can do it. There is a token called ZKSwap. ZKSwap is here we go. Let's see if we can quickly open it for you guys. There we go. So the ZKSwap is another DEX, an AMM model DEX, which is built on ZK Rollups. Now I'm not going to connect my wallet here because when I connect my wallet, everyone just steals my addresses. But what you can see here is that you can go and you can look on CoinGecko at ZKSwap, and then what you can go and do is you can go and play on this DEX. And if you like the DEX and you like the fundamentals behind it, then you can invest in it. So that's another way for you guys to get involved in this ZK Rollup. Okay, then there's another way for you guys to get involved in the ZK Rollup narrative, and that is to link your wallets to ZKSync and to do it as soon as possible. Because here is a little bit of alpha for you guys. So when you go to this ZK Rollup directory, and you look here, you see where it says, you see this little thing here, it says, there is a token, has a token, LRC. When you go to ZKSync, it says token expected. Now, token expected means that they're soon going to launch a token. If they're going to launch a token soon, we think that anybody that uses their technology will be able to get a free airdrop. That means that if you go to ZKSync and you connect your wallet and you start doing transactions on ZKSync, two things happen. The first thing that happens is you learn how to use a ZKSync wallet, which is like learning how to use a MetaMask wallet. It is exactly like learning how to use a new technology before it actually happens. That's the first thing that happens. So you actually get ahead of the pack. The next thing that happens is you will probably get a free airdrop. Yes, they'll probably airdrop their tokens to users of the ZKSync wallet and the ZKSync platform pretty soon. So that's another way for you guys to invest in ETH Layer 2 ZK Rollups without actually even investing. All you need to do is you need to go, connect your wallet, start doing a couple of transactions, and if we're right about our thesis, if we're wrong, the fees, the transaction fees are so low that you actually don't give a shit. If we're right and you use this and then they send you a free airdrop, then what happens? Now, if you have multiple wallets, like Fred has about 100 different MetaMask wallets because you just have to create a new wallet, and you connect a whole lot of your wallets, one by one by one by one by one, and you just send money from one to the other to the other to the other. So you take the same Ethereum or the same $100, right? Same Ethereum, same $100, and you jump it from wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet. Because the transaction fees on ETH Layer 2 and specifically on ZKSync are so small, you'll end up spending a couple of dollars on transferring money from one wallet to the other, maybe doing a couple of transactions on one of the dexes, connecting these wallets. The result, though, is that if they do airdrop every single address for using it, with the same $100, you've created yourself many $100, many airdrops, many airdrops. So that's what you have to do. Now, if you want to be like really cautious, what you need to do is just use a VPN every now and then. And by the way, if you want to use a VPN, in the description below, there's a thing to NordVPN. The reason why I say this is not because I want to show you a VPN, which is an important thing in crypto. That's not why I'm saying this to you. But if they can somehow correlate your IP address with the airdrop, they may say, look, one IP address can only get one airdrop. We've got this waxed. What we do is we just keep hopping addresses on the VPN, and that costs you. Let me quickly check out. I think it costs like $2.99 a month to get the NordVPN. I wasn't going to talk to you guys about NordVPN, but it's in the description link below. I suggest use it. Every time you do one of these wallet transactions, just jump to a different country. Tell them on the VPN that you're somewhere else. And then that way, you're going to get much more of this airdrop. I think, if we're right about the airdrop. Okay, so that's another way of getting free money. So all you have to do is you go and use this and you get free money. Okay, one last way before I give you guys a giveaway. If you go to Medium and you go to this airdrop guide, zk.money, zk.money is a layer 2 privacy app enabling users to privately transfer ETH, DAI, and REN BTC. It is built on top of the Aztec network, a ZK rollup on Ethereum, and there is an airdrop guide. Airdrop equal free money. It's so simple. You go there, you start using it, you use it because it's cheap, and then they airdrop you free money for actually using it. This can only happen in crypto. This can really only happen in crypto. And they basically tell you how to do it step by step. Guys, come on. I've given you 6 ways that you can invest in ZKSync, in ZK Rollups. I've given you 6 ways to capitalize on what is probably the next biggest narrative in crypto. Now, all you have to do is go and watch the show again, and then buy MATIC, buy Polygon, buy DeversiFi, or look at DeversiFi, buy ZKSwap, do the ZKSync linking up of your wallets and do a couple of transactions, do this Aztec rollup, and you've got 6 ways of capitalizing on what is going to be the biggest narrative in the next quarter. And that's exactly it. I think because we're here now, we've got free alpha. We know that layer 1s, or let's call them layer 1s and layer 2s, which are layers that can process base layer transactions at mass, are going to be in high demand as these multiple narratives take off in blockchain. We know, because we're here early, that the first 3 successful narratives, DeFi, NFTs, and store of value, completely crippled every single blockchain in the world. Yeah, we know that. So now, what we need to do is we need to actually be smart and invest and not worry about what the Fed's doing tomorrow. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be looking straight through this and making investments, like David Sachs says, like investors. Because we should be spending our time finding investments and not endlessly debating interest rates, tax policies, and everything else. Why? Because we know that we have an unfair advantage because we are here early, and we know that there's going to be this need for this big layer 1 and layer 2 base layer transaction networks. That's it, guys. If you didn't get that, I don't know what else to tell you. Did you get that?
I got it.
You got it. Good. Do we have 5,000 likes?
6,000.
We have 6,000 likes. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to give away 5 times 100. Now watch the Twitch. Okay, let's go. Where are the Twitch people? There are no Twitch people. What happened?
You can only comment once every 2 minutes.
Ah.
Thinking of reducing it.
James has found a way to block the Twitch people. Clever boy. All right, clever boy. Let's do this. Okay, Hakeem P. I also need a P. He's keen to P. Okay, Hakeem P gets $100 in MetaGods at pre-IDO prices. Last Samurai just got blessed. Bless you. Okay, let's see what else. Let's see who else. Here we go. Change my life. Oprah run free. Ibn Fisse must be South African. Ibn Fisse is South African, bro. You get yourself $100 of MetaGods. This is going to do unbelievably well. Let's see who else I'm blessing. Here we go. We've got smash those likes. Smash those likes also wins. Let's do one more before we go today. One more. Here we go. I've got one for you. Solomon. Best place ever, my friend. You're right. Best place ever. All right. So, guys, tomorrow. I don't know if Sheldon's doing a show. There's no show tomorrow. I'm not doing a show tomorrow. Yeah, I've got to help Fred attend to some really urgent business tomorrow. So, tomorrow Fred and I are very busy, and it's also my son's birthday. Then Friday we're gonna have a big banter. The banter on Friday is gonna be unbelievable because we have the same guest that we're gonna have last time. So we have Daniel Sesta, he's a serial founder in crypto and blockchain. He's one of the people behind Magic Internet Money and the Spell token, and a whole lot of other tokens. Then you got Vinny Lingham, who's always quality, and we've got Jose, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Macedo, and he's from Delphi Digital. Now, that's going to be a huge Banter Friday. And then Monday, I am officially on vacation, but I'm coming back to do a show with Ryan Selkis from Masari, and we're going to talk about his trends for 2022. So that's going to be like the last show of the year, and we're going to get you guys ready for 2022. And then I'm on vacation, and then I'll see you guys in January. See you guys again on Friday. Until then. Trade well, my friends.
That sucks.
Yeah. Luke, well done, bro.